Welcome to the Brain Software Podcast, episode 288. I am Chris Thompson, and today I'm here with Mike Mandel. We're going to talk about quite a few interesting things. A few years ago, we put out a video on a particular topic. People are losing their minds. They are so mad at us.
They are.
We went back and we rewatched the video with fresh eyes. We're going to react. Are we going to apologize? Are we going to apologize to the people who are really mad at us? We'll tell you all about it. It's an interesting topic called Aphantasia. We're also going to talk about some really interesting success stories from students in the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy, not just to brag about them, but to teach you all how simple it can be to help people make important changes changes to their lives. Let me give you a couple of examples of where we're going from here. We're going to talk about how a student, through a plethora of techniques to help solve this insomnia, and then one finally cracked the nut, and it made the biggest difference. Yeah, there you go. Crack the nut.
Edit that out.
We're going to talk about 6-step tapping.
Yeah.
This is really interesting, and how it solved long-standing sleep issues. This is really cool. And you'll be able to take that away into other areas of your life. Really, really cool. And we're going to talk about a brand new hypnosis student and a success case around dealing with a client who had extreme anxiety, unable to leave the home or even have any family members over to eat for dinner and stuff like this. Really interesting solutions being applied. It'll give you a sense of how hypnosis can be added to your toolbox, no matter what you're doing. Even if you're just a mom, even if you're a coach, just a mom or a dad. I mean, like not doing it professionally. Yeah, you're just a parent. I'm just a parent too. So you're going to see how this applies. So let's move on and let's do episode 288.
Yeah, how are you tonight? Thanks once again. It's your old pal Brado here. I got the intro job today, and I'm also doing the disclaimer, so here goes. Disclaimer on that, every podcast has issues, and this one does too, and that. But at least we don't allow any dicks on this one, which is something that some of the other podcasts cannot say with any degree of integrity. Lucci. Hey man, it's me, Scroll. Dave Ambrose, the people's physicist pouch. The sun's shining up here on Cydonia, bathing the Martian landscape with photons. The pyramids are glistening black like a gangrene goose, dripping heroin and hatred on the spirograph highway to hell. But whatever happened to that deep sense of panic that arrives when we near singularity, man?
Bite me crack, matey! So welcome to the final outpost of sanity in today's world. A hypnotist like none other. The growing edge of hypnotic credibility, because he's the Keith Richards of NLP and hypnosis, Mike Mandel, and he show.
Yes, thank you, Gustavo, and welcome to the Dominican Republic.
Oh man, we've got to fill in the gaps for the new listeners. So he show.
Back about 1981, I did a bunch of gigs, hypnosis shows at Jacktar Village in Dominican Republic. They just newly opened it. I only had to do 2 in a week, so it was great. But Gustavo, the cruise director at the resort, used to just intro me by, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Toronto, Canada, Mike Mandel, and he show."
That's the weirdest, like, creepy ending.
I know.
He show.
Okay,
why really funny. Yeah, that is really funny. All right, so thank you to Gustavo, the Dominican Republic. I love visiting the Dominican Republic.
Yeah,
I just want to say that. Fantastic place. We've got a lot of stuff to cover here, but we need to, first of all, we have to review this. Mike and I use Voxer, which is a walkie-talkie app on the iPhone and Android, and Timothy uses it too with us. And I voxed you yesterday. I was on my way back from Kingston, Ontario. We stopped at a rest stop, and I said, why is it that when people get older, and we're all older, right? Well, so I'm not going to specify, but they do this horrible thing that we call gaping in the gapery. Now, is gaping an actual term, or did we make that up?
It means to stare with your jaw hanging open. And adding in the gapery, the implication is someone is so addicted to gaping
that they built a room called the gapery.
Yes. There's many incarnations of
You'll see patterns of this re-emerging on a podcast. But I saw a guy leaving the restroom, and he was just like the most fascinating thing ever in his life. He's just staring at all the people gaping. And I said, why is it physiologically? Is there something here that as one ages, they gape?
Well, I think it's a lack of sanity. And I'm always on my A game, avoiding gaping in the gapery.
So we're not making fun of anyone.
I saw a horrible example. No, but it happens. I saw a horrible example of this. I told you. In Toronto, on one back street, not far from where I live, they'd open a manhole cover and they put things around it, the ubiquitous the municipal workers, so nobody would fall in. And they were dredging it, doing some other stuff. There's like 5 guys standing around leaning on shovels, and one guy's doing this pumping thing. And there's an old guy standing there. He's probably about, I'm guessing, 6 or 7 years older than me.
Okay, so and your age-ish.
He's hunched. His hands are in fists. He's got glasses on, and he's staring at them like.
And his mouth is just wide open.
Dropped open. And he's gaping in the gapery.
So,
and you know how he's doing it? Like Jack the frickin' Gaper.
Yeah. So the rule of thumb here, do not let your family members gape in the gapery.
Don't let your jaw drop.
Yes, it's just not okay.
He would look like a slack-jawed troglodyte.
All right.
Okay. So
now we're going to, so we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about aphantasia.
This is elephantiasis. Yeah.
So can I set the stage for this and then hand it over to you?
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, we put out a video that talked about aphantasia and how to deal with clients who have aphantasia. Can you hypnotize them, etc. Now, we kind of made one major blunder. And that is, we never actually got around in that video to answering the question, how do you deal with someone who really has aphantasia? Now, we have to explain what that means first. So, and you're going to get into more science around it.
Get into all
the short version is aphantasia is people who cannot visualize.
So they have extreme difficulty.
Yeah. So if you ask them, hey, close your eyes and picture your dog or your cat or anything at all, they would see just nothing. They would describe it as being completely black, if that, or just nothingness. I can't visualize a damn thing, right?
Yeah, not a damn thing.
And I think in that video, we said 1% to 3% of the population, scientifically, from the testing perspective, has aphantasia. So it's rare, but it's common enough. Like, I mean, if a vaccine killed 1% of the people, that would be way overboard and it would not be on the market. Or if a pill for anxiety caused suicidal tendencies in 1% of the population,
you're really digging yourself a hole here.
You would think they probably wouldn't put it on the market, right?
Of course, follow the dollar.
You would think. So we're not saying 1% to 3% is a rare and not meaningful number. We never said that. But it is a small number, right? What we said in the video is most people who will say they can't visualize misunderstand what visualization is. Right. Anyway,
well, let's get to that.
So people lost their minds in the comments.
This is 3 years ago. They just started losing their minds now.
No, they started 3 years ago. We just weren't paying attention. And like it's been, the video's gotten more comments over time. And, people are still, like one guy even wrote, you need to take this video down. This is just wrong information. It's like, okay, so we looked at the video with fresh eyes. Were we dicks? Were we wrong? Do we need to apologize? And what's the answer?
Well, let's look at this. I've made myself some notes here about the science behind it. Now, aphantasia is the inability or extreme difficulty to form voluntary mental images. In other words, if someone with aphantasia tries to imagine a red apple, they can understand the concept of red apple, and they know its shape, color, and texture intellectually, but they don't see it in their mind's eye the way many people do. But the interesting thing is, most people who visualize don't actually see something vividly and as stably as the real world. It's not it's not a high def, VR headset. For most people, mental imagery is often fleeting or fuzzy or incomplete. It's missing the face or fine details, rather. It's prone to quickly fading or morphing. It's more like a remembered impression than a literal image. That's how people typically visualize.
Right.
Now,
I understand that and agree with that.
So we're saying 2 to 4% of the population actually has real aphantasia.
Okay, and that's a more up-to-date statistic.
Yes.
When we did the video, you off the cuff just said 1% to 3%.
Right.
Close enough.
Close. But what they're saying here, and this is interesting because this is based on structured research, this number. And using a validated questionnaire called the VVIQ, which is a Vividness of Visual Imagery Questionnaire. So guys, if you don't like what we're saying, go after the people who did the questionnaire. They're the scientists. We're just telling you. We're the messengers. You can't shoot the frickin' messenger, so don't try.
You can try.
Yeah.
Well, it won't work.
You can frickin' try is right. Yeah. So no, they combine this with experiments on visual memory and mental rotation, turning things around. I've been able to do that since I was a kid. Take a chessboard, look at it from underneath, turn it around. Yeah, all this stuff. In fact, I killed somebody with a Petrov's defense the other day. And of course, the fact she was a 7-year-old girl made it less of a powerful injury.
Not
to her.
actually kill,
Right.
just to be clear. Yeah.
In a chess game.
Yeah.
So these are image-related tasks. Now, many self-diagnoses come from people who think that imagery should be photorealistic.
Yeah.
But that's not aphantasia.
Well, okay,
that's just having imagery at the lower vividness end of a broad normal spectrum.
So
That's
let's
really
say
key.
there's the scientific accepted measurement method to determine whether someone has or has not aphantasia.
Right.
And then there's a separate question, which is people who claim to have
People
it.
who self-diagnose.
Yes. Now, people who claim to have it may very well have it, or they have self-diagnosed and they think they have it based on what they believe about visualization. So these are two different classifications.
Well put.
So if you're one of the people who thinks you have it and you actually have it, we're not talking about you.
No, at all. In fact, we're not even talking to you. Now, remember, how many times when we used to be, at Brennan Hall, and I would teach, and somebody would come in, and I'd say, they say, well, I can't just because I can't visualize. I say, what would it be like if you can? And right away, they're moving their eyes around.
They start describing what it would look
moving
like.
their hands. They would be like vividly 3D, like here, and they're describing what they're seeing internally, unconsciously. Now, so our conjecture was that most of the people who think they have aphantasia are self-diagnosed, and they're comparing, as you said, their internal world against some sort of hypothetical precision that you would see through. Yeah.
And then they'll fall into the trap of thinking, well, I guess I can't do visualization, so I guess that rules out a whole bunch of different hypnosis techniques. They won't work for me, et cetera, et cetera. And if you can clear up someone's understanding of visualization being imperfect, that'll often just take away a disempowering belief.
Sure. It's on a spectrum, which is a normal spectrum for people who don't have it.
And that's essentially what we said in the 3-year-old
It's pretty much
video.
what we said.
So are we apologizing?
No, we're not done yet. We're going to give them the test. We'll apologize in a minute about the urge to apologize. Now, aphantasia doesn't usually affect a person's to recognize or remember objects or navigate spaces or dream visually. Many people with aphantasia still dream with images.
Yeah.
But it's the voluntary imagery that's missing.
Right. That makes total sense.
Here's the test you can use. It's the window counting test.
Okay.
You want to try it?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So you just researched this?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So you can do this.
Okay.
With your eyes open or closed. It doesn't matter. Count the windows in your house right now.
Yeah, that's no problem. I mean,
Go ahead and do it.
And now, by the way, I don't have some crazy, amazing visualization of my house.
No, but he has a crazy,
but I can just start at the front and go, okay, well, I know there's a window to the left of the door. There's a window on the front door. There's a window to the right of the front door.
Yeah.
There's a window up in our master bedroom. There's a window in my daughter's bedroom. Actually, there's 2 windows in my master bedroom. There's a window in my daughter's bedroom. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the front of the house. There are on the back. I know that there is only one main window on one side, no windows on the other side, except for a garage, technically. So that's 2. Anyway, and then I could go on.
Okay, so while you're doing this, what's happening inside your head?
Well, I'm getting very fleeting, fuzzy images that I just know spatially.
But are you traveling through?
Yeah.
Room?
I am actually not. I was walking around the outside of my property in my mind.
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
So now you're not seeing these windows as vividly as our beautiful studio.
God, no.
But you're getting an impression of them.
Yeah.
He does not have aphantasia because he can do the window counting test. People who don't have it are moving room to room. They're not having an intellectual awareness. So when I bought the house, here's the check sheet. We want 16 windows. Like, no, it's even that could be because they're looking at the check sheet. Right?
Now, what about the people who would say to this, because this is the kind of comment we see in the YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Well, just because I can access visual information, I only know it because I remember it. I remember what color my daughter's hair is because I know that it's brown. I've remembered that. I'm not, when you ask me to imagine her, I don't actually imagine her. I just tell you I know her hair's brown because I remember it.
To which my answer is, but if there's a crowd of 100 people, would you recognize your daughter in the crowd?
Yeah.
Why? Because you have an internal
unconscious
map you are
way.
comparing it with.
Right. It's not a conscious visualization. So that doesn't
see anyone red hair here. Okay.
Fair enough. That wouldn't disprove someone's claim that they have aphantasia.
No.
If they can pick out their daughter in a crowd, that's not making a conscious image.
Correct.
So, but they could still, the key here is the separation of making the image, which a person without aphantasia could do.
Yeah.
And an aphantasia person would not be able to do. Aphantasic person. Versus, can they use visual information? Can they access visual information? Because if we do hypnosis and we simply ask people to do things like, imagine that you're on a beach. Notice I have not used any visualization.
Well, this is the key.
At all here.
This is the key.
Right.
To still use it hypnotically with people who, whether or not they have it, is not using the visual terms.
Right.
Imagine a beach off to your left. Now you can do it kinesthetically if you want, and that will still work. You don't have, when we say guided imagery, it isn't always necessarily an image. It's a guided journey.
Yeah, guided imagination.
Guided imagination. So here's the conclusion, and then we're going to talk about the apology. For people with genuine aphantasia, there is currently no evidence-based way to restore visual imagery in the mind's eye.
Gotcha.
So that's because the difference appears to be rooted in how the brain's imagery and perception networks are wired, particularly the interaction between the prefrontal cortex, where voluntary imagery commands originate, and the visual cortex, where the images would be normally constructed. So having repeated all this, brought you the science, we are holding to our original video. We're not changing it. We're sure as hell not taking that pecker down.
Yeah.
So
some people said they felt mocked and stuff. And it's like,
I'd mock anyone who'd make that into a big freaking deal.
We mock ourselves. We certainly weren't mocking anybody. We were mocking the idea that you need to believe that visualization is perfect in order to do it.
Yes, that's ludicrous.
That is an idea worth mocking, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Science is on our side.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
So what we dropped, though, is what we failed to do in that video. We're going to move on now. So we failed to actually deal with the question, which was, how do you work hypnotically with someone who actually has aphantasia?
Right, and I've already explained it.
And I think, yes, the simple answer is don't go to visualization. Just use imagery, or not imagery, imagination.
Non-specific language.
That is, if you were to have somebody imagining that they were on a beach and they could feel the warmth of the sand and they could hear the sounds of the waves gently lapping onto the beach,
into it.
and you happen to mention, the brightness, which is a visual cue, they're not going to jump out of trance and shout at you and say, I can't imagine the brightness. I have aphantasia, but I can feel only that. Don't use those words. You just weave it all together.
Yeah.
You give them a variety, right? It's sort of like a buffet. If somebody can't eat seafood, there's still chicken and steak and vegetables and all kinds of things. All right.
Now, the final point here needs to be addressed. So you can speak in non-specific language. You can still take people on these journeys, whether or not they can visualize.
Yeah.
But the science is you cannot cure it.
Okay.
You cannot change it because it's hardwired. Prefrontal cortex, occiput. No further questions, Your Honor. And here's the apology.
If you lost your mind, well, rewatch the video.
Yeah.
What did you say? People are reacting to what they think we said instead of what we actually said. Now, keep that in mind. That is a really important lesson to keep your assertiveness. Every time someone freaking apologizes, like, oh, I'm really sorry, people were offended. And, don't apologize if you don't have anything to apologize for.
And I love my ending here. I just came up with this now. You're like this. And if you didn't get the apology you wanted, just try to visualize it.
Okay.
I'm a comic genius.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Let's move on. And we're going to talk now about some awesome success stories.
Yes.
So let's go. We won't name any of the people who are involved here.
That's fair enough.
So we'll call this first gentleman David. That's not his name. So David,
people think his name is David.
Yeah, they'll think his name's David. Hey, David, we're talking. No, David is a person who came to our Architecture of Hypnosis class, then joined the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy and continued to do work and has been wonderfully working with clients. Now, he had I'll just describe it. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Question? Is this the guy in Montreal?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where he lives, actually.
All right.
So here's the situation. Had a client with stubborn insomnia. His initial work, he did 6-step tapping, Jinshin Jitsu, which you can talk about, walking with grace and power, which is an NLP technique, the rewind technique, direct suggestion in hypnosis. Now, what happened is he got the client falling asleep easily, but she was still waking through the night, though without the anxiety. There was an anxiety underlying falling asleep. So now that was solved. She was falling asleep, but she would wake in the middle of the night. And so while he was waiting to do his second session with her, he made a hypnosis audio to help her drift back asleep.
Nice.
Now, in that next session, he decided to do ego state work, which makes a lot of sense, and found the part responsible for waking her up and it appeared as some shapeless darkness, reluctant to show itself. With praise and reassurance, it became a shadowy figure, then light, and it finally named itself stress.
Yeah.
And stress, the ego state, the part of her, explained that it was waking her to prevent her from forgetting important dates and events. So then it looks like they did a negotiation, ego state negotiation, to make an agreement that the client would keep and update a calendar, and stress, that part of her, would only remind her when she was awake. Stress then transformed into a clerical worker named memory. They finished with more direct suggestion in hypnosis, and the client has slept through the night ever since.
Oh, that's
yes.
brilliant. That's
so
brilliant.
brilliant
Getting
work.
to the ego state is important. Let me show you a side thing on this that adds into this. When I did my initial NLP training with the trainers Chris Dunkley and Deanna Sager, Georgian Bay NLP, so we're talking about 1992, 93. I was suffering terribly from insomnia at that time. And Chris Dunkley ran a protocol with me, and he contacted that part, NLP term, that ego state. And insomnia was causing it intentionally. And listen to this. This is why he said, your unconscious is so fast.
This is really cool.
Why are you causing insomnia? And the ego state spoke and said, he's drinking too much coffee. He's washing potassium out of his blood, out of his body. And I don't want him to die young like his father did from a heart attack. And
so the insomnia was to do what?
It was to make me exhausted.
Oh, so that you wouldn't continue drinking too much
realizing
coffee.
the coffee wasn't working.
Right. Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Okay, so so there's this part of you, if you have insomnia, that is likely keeping you up for some particular reason. And if you get in touch with it and do the ego state work, or work with a hypnotist who understands this stuff. This is the interesting thing. The original version of the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy that we recorded in 2013, even though there were hints at ego state work, it hadn't become, for you, a discovery that everything is an ego state problem. And so only in the most recent version 2, and don't worry, I won't make you make a version 3, version 2, which we did in 2023, we put an entire lesson on ego state there.
Yes, we did.
Because of it. So really, really interesting.
And we check our work. We checked with Dr. Gordon Emerson, who was one of our guest trainers. And he's the
he
world's
confirmed
authority on
your opinion. You said, I think everything is, it doesn't mean you're using ego state work on the problem specifically, but it works on an ego state all the time. And he said, yes, he just agreed.
He said
which
100%.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Great,
he sent
man.
you a copy of
and he
his
sent me his
too.
book. Yeah, super nice guy.
So that is a really cool story. And I think just in terms of lessons for people here, let's give let's always give some takeaways for the hypnotists and the non-hypnotists.
Okay, well,
just
let's
in general.
The hypnotist. Yeah, like I look at Eric's work, Dave's work, Bill's work, any of our different students who do a great job with people who are consistently, they're not giving up. There's a lot of them are throwing all kinds of different things at it until they're finding something that fits.
Yeah, it feels like I was working on consolidating my view of what is hypnosis, and I think the hypnotic trance is like the toolbox, and what you put in the toolbox are the things that you do with the person in the trance. And I like that better than I used to call the hypnotic induction or the trance a wrapper that contained the things, but I like the toolbox metaphor better. Now, this is what it makes me think of. Let's say a mechanic comes across a bolt that's the head has rounded or whatever, the hexagonal shape is sort of, how do you get the bolt out? Well, okay, you try the wrench, it slips, it's not going to work. Well, okay, you grab pliers, well, that doesn't work.
Vice grips.
Do they give up? No. Eventually they figure out, okay, I'm going to drill a hole in it, I'm going to tap a new, thing in, I'm going to find a way. They get it out somehow. And I think with hypnotherapy, and also you can extend this to just general life, if you don't quit, you go, well, whatever I did here, I tried something, it didn't work.
Right.
Do something else.
Just a continuous self-education with it.
And have a full toolbox.
We've now found some other stuff that doesn't work. And we're back to Derek Balmer saying, what would not possibly work, make it work, building in flexibility of behavior.
Yeah. So
that's
I
good.
love it.
I see the hypnotists are spending the time to look at this and to think it through and attempt different things and see what clears it up. What about for the person?
For the person who is not a hypnotist?
Yeah.
Just the idea of don't quit.
Yeah. Keep going.
Keep going.
Don't quit.
Quit. Oh, that's funny. We're going to talk about embedded commands in the next podcast. That's it. I mean, realistically, such complete work here.
Yeah.
A good intake, figuring out there was an anxiety around falling asleep, deal with the anxiety, the falling asleep problem disappears, but then now we're having the secondary problem of waking up, dealing with what actually presents itself, right?
Which turns out to be aphantasia.
Oh, man. All right.
The word's anchored. Okay, let's go to another one. We have that another one about the tapping. I think this.
Okay.
This was really interesting.
So I'm going to read this one out, and let's call this person David. No, I'm just kidding. We already used David. We'll call him Bill. Okay. Well, so this is Bill. He's a member of our community, and he shared a story about how tapping transformed his mother's long-standing sleep issues caused by painful nighttime bladder spasms. Now, that's an interesting one, right? So you're looking to have a great sleep, but your bladder's freaking, spasming in the bladdery spasmer.
Yeah, spasming in the spasming.
And that's causing pain and obviously discomfort and therefore sleep issues. So after a quick explanation and demonstration on a non-relating irritating issue, the client was immediately impressed by the stress relief. I'm thinking this summary is bad, but anyway, the key was that he got the woman to do tapping.
The 6-step.
Just a 6-step tapping process on this. And then he reports the following. The first night, 50% reduction in spasms. Second night, did it again, 75% reductions. Third night, the spasms stopped entirely. And she slept through the night for the first time in nearly a decade, leading to huge relief for everyone, basically.
Yeah.
So that's a really simple story. It was, here's this problem. Why don't we do 6-step tapping and see what happens? You're not going to make it worse.
It's such a great, it's not going to make anything worse. And if people can get in touch with the feeling, the negative feeling, and do the 6-step, they'll very often get a profound result. People are reluctant to do it because it seems like it couldn't possibly help.
Yeah.
But you really, if you persist with it, there are very few things that will not respond.
Yeah, and you go after the underlying emotion too, right? So in the case of, let's say, it's a bladder spasm. Well, that's not the emotion. The emotion is probably the worry, the anxiety that it's going to wake me up again tonight.
Sure, yeah.
So it's worry about these bladder spasms or something like that. So you get it. Let's explain the process again because we've done this, but for new listeners, we'll just show you the tapping process.
Yeah.
So name it.
Okay.
Elicit the subjective units of distress. Like, how bad is that feeling
right now?
So
not how bad was it when you saw the snake on the golf course?
Yeah,
how bad
right
can
now.
you feel right now when you think about it.
So it's okay. Bladder spasms. Worry about it's worry. I'll just call it worry. All right. Well, it's an 8 because it wakes me up every freaking night and it's painful and I'm worried about it. It's an 8. Can you make? And then you usually ask people, can you make it even higher now? Can you get it to a 9? Yeah. I can. They think about it and they go, yes, I can.
Yeah, which shows them they have power over it.
So then what?
And then we say, tune into the feeling. Feel it in your body. And you've got it. It's an 8 out of 10, whatever, 9 out of 10. You're going to tap, give it a name. So it could be that worry. Say that word. Tap the top of their head, right in the very center. So if you look to your head from the top, put an X. It's right in the middle of the X. Tap with your whole hand. You can't miss it. So you're going to tap in the center and you're going to say, that worry.
Only as long as it takes to say that worry. It's like you're doing
that's
this.
enough.
Yeah.
Then vertical fingers right in the center of the forehead. That worry. Or you can say, tap on the outside, like Robert Smith does, and say, I let go of this worry. Let it go.
Yeah. So this is the third point. Just to be clear for the people who are, let's stay in order linearly because not everyone watches the video.
Right.
Top of the head is number 1.
The top of the head.
Center of the forehead is number 2.
Yep.
Then the outer corner of the eye is number 3.
Very close to the eyeball.
And you're saying some version of that worry or let go of that worry.
Let go of that worry. Yeah. Then
point number 4,
directly
underneath
under the pupil of the eye on the cheekbone.
Right.
Use the whole hand. So then you're going to hit it. Then underneath the
clavicle in the soft meaty area.
Yeah, just barely touching it on either side, just off between the sternum.
Yeah, not center.
Right, just a little bit in that curve underneath. Yeah. Tap there. Then finally, the last one, as Tom Ye, one of our students, was Chinese medicine practitioner, said, this one works, the last one, because of all the meridians that run through the wrist.
Right, it's the wrist.
Grab the wrist.
Smack it or just grab it.
Hold on. And again, you're saying,
let go of that worry.
Then take a deep breath. Relax and say peace.
Peace.
It's Robert Smith, and that re-anchors you.
And then check in with the number again.
How bad can you make it feel right now? And somebody will say, well, it's better. No, I need a freaking number. No, it's better than what? I need a number.
Yeah.
Don't stop because you feel better. Take it to 0. Wipe it out. And it's interesting because something you said, it brought up the aspect of derived emotions. How the worry of, tapping on the worry about lying awake or waking up. Because when people have a phobia, and I've said this in class and it always surprises people, when people have a phobia, say it's of snakes, They aren't afraid of snakes.
They're afraid of
the feeling they get.
They get
when a snake comes around.
Yes.
So it's all but dealing with the feeling, with the emotion.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
Derived emotion.
So there you go. So for Bill, who we're naming this guy, great job in helping an aging lady get amazing sleep again, right?
Yes.
Funny enough, I didn't do this on purpose, but both had to do with sleep. Interesting. Do you think sleeping is becoming a major freaking issue for people?
Well, for you, certainly.
Scary thing. I don't want to implant that as a suggestion or something, but sleep is a major issue. If you can help people fix their quality of sleep, you can have a good side career.
Sure. Can you visualize yourself sleeping?
Yes. Yes, I can. I can even visualize myself having a dream about me visualizing myself sleeping.
Brilliant.
There we go. Okay, let's go on to the last one here, because what are we at? Oh, yeah, we're on good time.
We're doing good.
We want to highlight this next one. We don't even have a name written down, so this is great. So I'm going to read. Yeah, usually just so for the record, what I do when I'm making these notes, I grab the entire post that somebody posted, feed it into Chat GPT and say, summarize this for me, because I don't want to have to read a million paragraphs. I like reading it, but then I'm not going to recall it enough in that detail for the podcast. So here we go. A new practitioner, so somebody new to hypnosis, shared a powerful case of progress with a client who started with extreme anxiety, unable to leave the home or eat with family. So over 3 sessions, the hypnotist used techniques including the emotional detox, which is a Carl Smith method, the 6-step tapping that we just talked about a moment ago, the control room, which is a guided imagery method, submodality shifts, which come from NLP, and it's about editing the way you either visualize, hear, or feel things, internal shifts. Timeline work, which is another NLP method. Mike's New You protocol.
And Chris's.
Which is really Chris and Mike's New You protocol, another way of doing guided imagery. 7-11 breathing, which is activating your parasympathetic nervous system, and reports that the client made remarkable changes within those 3 sessions. So now walking the dog, hosting visitors, eating in front of others.
That's a huge shift.
Yeah.
It really is.
Now, this was another one. In the latest session, they targeted the client's most troubling symptom, which was about nausea, and used the reverse spin technique. Immediate joyful results, future pacing, reinforcing the shift. Now, interesting. However, at night, after taking anti-anxiety medication, the client experienced intense nausea. And that was mainly the question. It was posted as a question, but really, it was a success story about all these major changes that the client had in 3 sessions. And now the client's taking an anti-anxiety medication and getting nausea from it, which begs the question, maybe they don't need it anymore, right? That's what a lot of
let their doctor decide that, Chris.
A lot of the comments from our students in the community were basically, well, maybe the medication is causing this. This is a well-known side effect. Some of the doctors in the group even chimed in. And bottom line, though, is as a hypnotist, you can't say to the client, well, you should stop taking this medicine. That would be irresponsible. But what you can do is raise the idea and say, maybe you want to have a conversation with your primary care physician about the appropriateness of this medication. Maybe he'll agree that you don't need it anymore. Right?
That's
but
fantastic.
You can't say stop taking it.
No, definitely.
Okay, so I've talked too much. You talk now.
Okay, well, we've looked at some great stuff. I think we have to go to a quick commercial break, though, Chris.
All right, so let's go to the commercial.
Tonight on the Cydonia Network.
Good morning, Mr. Gomez. It's been a long time since I last saw you.
Yeah, I know. I've been back home, and I finally got a lot of work done, and so I'm back on Earth again.
Home, Mr. Gomez?
Call me Larry. Yes, I was clearing out the agricultural terraces near the pyramids, and then I thought it would be a good idea to make some geographical changes when I was there.
Changes, Larry? What kind of changes?
Well, not much really. I just used an industrial laser to clear out some debris, and I put a lot of dust in the air.
Dust? Mr. Gomez? I mean, Larry?
Tons of the stuff. I had to vacuum the red rocks around my life pod so they look clean again. But now the air is finally clear, and I'm going to try to stop vacuuming off. You should see the color of Phobos and Deimos these days. I had my picture taken with the moons in the background, and Elon Musk is going to use it in one of his promotional ads.
Hang on a minute. You went home, now back to Earth? You mentioned Phobos and Deimos, Red Rock, Elon Musk. Are you from Mars, Larry?
I'm not sure. I might be.
Larry Gomez, the man who might be a Martian, tonight on the War of the Worlds Network.
Well, there you have it.
Right, there you have it.
And it's interesting. I find this very encouraging because we have thousands of students, have had thousands of students.
Yeah.
But to get this kind of amazing result, it's pretty routine.
It is pretty routine.
We hear
This is
about
the
all the
thing.
time.
Like, we could talk about students who have fixed allergies. In fact, we had an example like that too. It's always impressive when we post a video of, let's say, you helping somebody overcome a shellfish allergy or
Cat
some of the
allergies.
cat
Yeah,
allergies, all kinds of things like this.
But
that's you. You're Mike Mandel. You're the wizard, or I'm Chris Thompson, and I've been doing this stuff forever too, and well, not quite as long as forever, but like a long time.
yes.
And then our students do it, and they've been doing it, in some cases, one day, you know, because they just learned the technique in the class and immediately applied it in breakout groups. Or they've been, doing hypnosis for 3 months after our class and practicing, and they have these kinds of results. It's because it's not magical us ability.
No.
It's a skill that can be taught.
Yeah, and we teach it thoroughly. So when people follow the protocols we teach them and have proven track records, they typically get the same results that we get.
Absolutely. So I think that's pretty much going to take us to a wrap here.
Well, then let's do the empowering questions and we can close it.
Yeah, all right, let's do it. So our empowering question is, you may not live on Mars or even Jupiter, but you do have the ability to think. And to that end, ask yourself, what will you be thinking about? And what will you notice you see the next time you visualize something and see absolutely nothing?
That's right.
All right. So this has been episode 288 of the Brain Software Podcast, coming at you from Toronto, the world hypnotic epicenter. Stay tuned. Our next podcast is going to be another amazing one with some interesting stuff coming up. And if you would like to join the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy, it's $1 to get started for your first week. You can find it right on our website, MikeMandelHypnosis.com. If you are more in the realm of personal development, you don't want to become a hypnotist yet. You'll eventually get there. Everyone will. You're already a hypnotist. But if you want to start with stuff that will just help you in your own life, check out our brain software syndicate, MikeMandelHypnosis.com/BSS. It's BS with an extra S. And that's all of our best personal development training courses, programs, self-hypnosis, etc., all in one community, one membership. Fantastic, super low cost. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks once again.
And good night.